Hey guys, welcome back to another Peacemaker video. So this is the season finale of Peacemaker, and I'm sorry to say, but this is the last time we are doing a Peacemaker breakdown review, whatever you want to call it. Um Really unfortunate, man. I mean, I'm not done with the whole series entirely. I'm saying this is pretty much it because the season's over with. So there's that. And honestly, the next like TV show movie we're gonna talk about is the Batman, which comes out in March. A couple more weeks. So there's that. Unless there's like a big trailer that happens or some news we could break down. But as of right now, man, there's not really much to talk about right now besides this. So there's that. But anyways, this episode, this season was absolutely amazing. I'll go over my overall thoughts once I finish breaking down what happened in this episode. And so if you guys never seen one of these videos, this is highly spoilerish. I mean, I did 8 or 7, I should say, because I put 1, 2, and 3 episodes, 1, 2, and 3, since they released like that together in one episode, or one video. So this is probably 7 videos by now. So if you haven't seen this, well, if you ever seen one of these type of videos, it's heavy spoilerish. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, I just highly suggest to stop the video, um, watch it, and then come back, because this show is absolutely a must. If you're a comic book fan, even if you don't like DC, I feel like you definitely should watch this. Because it's so good. It's a it's newer take and what you're accustomed to seeing. When it comes down to superhero show, the storytelling is just top tier in my opinion. And man, I absolutely love this season. But anyways, and this episode's called "It's Cow or Never." So there's that. But the show really opens up with Chris and Adrian and Leota all talking inside the van at the events of what happened the last episode. With Chris basically telling Leota like he doesn't like her, so he's already a little pissed off from her from that as well. But then they like every time she's talking, they start to do like some childish reaction. They're kind of like man childs basically, and doing fart noises with to her every time she starts to get her point across as well. But she's trying to apologize. She's trying to be the bigger person, but of course, these guys are like man child. So there's that. Then it leads into Leota basically calling up Amanda Waller and asking for help, for this whole butterfly situation, because they're kind of out of their element. They're not really strong enough. There's only really 2 people or 3 really, because of hardcore that's going into the field over there. They just lost their captain, their general, and Mern in the last episode. But she calls up Amanda Waller and asks for help. And then that's when she asks if they could send in the Justice League. It's the reason why I'm wearing the shirt today. So there's that. But um, so she asks for the Justice League help. Obviously, they're too busy as well. So there's that. But they're also trying to figure out how to use all these different helmets that Peacemaker has. I mean, he has helmets that is basically for help him out. He has different helmets. He has one that has like gravity. There's one that's like called torpedo. There's one that does sonic blast. So he has these different type of helmets as well that helps him out with the mission. So there was that, and then that's where to me they do another name drop again. They name drop Green Arrow, and they start talking crap about him. One of my favorite parts in the whole thing as well. This was the biggest name drop. I mean, yeah, he's always dropping like the Justice League. He's talking crap about, Aquaman or Batman or Superman and all that. But he name drops Green Arrow, and I think if there was one character for to show up in part two, which they did announce that Peacemaker was going to get a second season. Um, if there was one Justice League member that would show up, it would be Green Arrow. So there's that. But that's actually pretty dope. Like that as well. Then it leads into Chris basically losing his mind. Chris is constantly just thinking of his father. He's getting to the point to where he actually sees his father all the time, and he's just losing his mind. But yeah, there's that as well. Then there's a scene with Eagly as well. Eagly, they're trying to get the Sonic Boom helmet to go on top of the or the gravity helmet, or I forget which helmet it was, but they were trying to get the helmet to go on top of the barn where the cow was at, so that they could do a sneak attack on them. But they try to get Eagly to go grab the helmet. And why this is important, normally I talk about important, well, because of what happens a little bit later. But they try to get Eagly to go on top of this or grab the helmet, throw it on the barn. Eagly picks up the helmet after a few struggles or whatever, and he flies off with it. He goes towards the barn, and then he goes the other way and just drops the helmet somewhere else. So they try to go and find the helmet. And so they when they do that, they eventually find the helmet, and now they have to go in and manually put it themselves. So they nominate John Economos to go in there after Peacemaker killed a police officer, and they try to have him blend in as well, and disguise himself as the police officer and a butterfly, so he could actually go downstairs and put the helmet down, the Sonic Boom helmet down where the cow is at, so that they could use the Sonic Boom to blast, so it could basically kill them, because that's how they did in the second episode when he actually fought the butterfly. Would absolutely obliterated that person. So there was that. Then it leads to a scene where Economos is walking with this with the bag that has the helmet in there. He gets stopped by Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon almost sees through his disguise, and he scares the crap out of Economos. Economos goes downstairs where the cow is at. Before he can make it all the way down, he sees the butterfly completely, or the cow. He completely freaks out because it's literally gigantic, and we all saw in the last episode how ugly and gigantic that cow is. Cool design though, but like it's super super ugly. So there is that. But he drops the bag in the middle of the staircase and goes running back upstairs. But when he's like walking out, of course, he was freaking out the whole time. He gets stopped by Fitzgibbon. That Fitzgibbon asks him about his beard, and he had like a little small moment. I'm gonna be real with you. At that time when I was watching it, when they're having a small moment, he's talking about his beard. He's bringing up, personal things about why he dyes his beard. I'm gonna be real with you. It was probably an awkward. It was a real awkward moment when he was talking about it. Of course, the crew could hear, his conversation because they got earpieces in or whatever. But there, he's having trying to have like a moment with the crew or whatever, explaining why he dyes his beard and all that. And of course they felt it, but then us, the audience, we're supposed to feel a moment for him. And I said to them, I was like, well, this is pretty awkward. This is the worst time to have that little small moment. I don't know, I just didn't feel that moment. And don't get me wrong, I love John Economos in the show, but like it was a super awkward moment. I'm gonna be real with you. Wasn't really a fan of that moment at that particular. If they would have did it at any other time, I probably would have liked it. But at that particular moment, especially with like the suspense, and then just of him possibly getting caught, and then to follow up with that type of moment, yeah, not really feeling that. I'm gonna be real with you. But anyways, it wasn't really that huge in my opinion, but there was that. Then it leads into them eventually getting out, or they figure out because one of the prison guards, who was one of the guys who in episode probably 3, he's the one who was like the one that would the or I don't know, probably a little bit later episode that was talking crap to Vigilante. You know, he was part of the White Dragons crew or whatever. He finds the helmet and he goes running back up and he's like, "Hey, this guy just brought this helmet over there as well." So they all start going at their Economos. And then I thought they were gonna kill him. I'm gonna be real with you. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna kill Economos off. And then while they were doing that, Leota was supposed to yell into the walkie-talkie because when the helmet activates, somebody has to save. We saw it with the gravity helmet, which I should have mentioned. I don't know why I didn't put it in my notes. But the gravity helmet, when you say like activate the helmet, it'll go flying off in the air, or it'll do what it's supposed to do. So once you say it, so they put a walkie-talkie in the helmet, and when she's supposed to say activate sonic boom, it's supposed to activate. Well, she drops the walkie-talkie like a goof troop that she is, and she drops it. They couldn't find it, so Economos is getting his ass kicked. I swear I thought I was like, oh my god, they're gonna kill him, but apparently they didn't, and it was enough time to where she finally finds the walkie-talkie. She activates the sonic boom, and of course the barn goes crumbling down. And then, of course, they have to stop what they were doing. Instead of killing economists, they stopped, try to run back to the barn, and try to protect the cow that's down there, because that is the reason she's the cow. I don't know if she's a sea. I'm guessing she's a sea. The reason of their existence, and the only way they could live is with the cow. So there's that. Uh, so then, Economos gets away as well. So there was that. And then it leads to the badass scene with hardcore Peacemaker and Vigilante fighting the butterflies. Out of nowhere, Peacemaker just gets basically like this Captain American shield walking on with it, and the action scene with them fighting. I mean, there's people getting shot in the head. There's heads getting chopped off and flying off. I mean, for DC that has this whole gun policy thing. I mean, they sure did let James Gunn get away with a few things. I'd say in this episode, I was like, oh my god, like this is rated R right here. It's kind of like the piece or the Deadpool movie where he chops off one of the guy's head and goes flying or whatever. That's basically what that scene was like. But man, it was so badass just seeing all three of them together. They just look badass. But Peacemaker tries to run down towards the cow. They eventually lead him on. Hardcore and Vigilante tries to stay back and tries to help Peacemaker go downstairs while they stay up and fight the rest of the butterflies as well. So there's that. And then it leads into like them getting overwhelmed. Vigilante gets shot in his back. Vigilante could take some bullets, man. I'll tell you that as well. Hardcore gets shot as well, and then they made it seem like she bled out. And then I'll talk about that a little bit later. But no, I could talk about it right now. No, I'll just leave it for a little bit later. But like she bleeds out as well. So then leads it to Economos and Leota trying to figure out what the hell they're gonna do. Then Leota has this badass moment as well where she's like, "I'm born to do this." Because I guess Economos was asking her like, "What are we gonna do?" About a hardcore is down, Vigilante's down. Like, what are we gonna do? And she grabs two guns and she's like, "Yeah, I was born to do this." And I was like, I mean, you weren't really doing that the previous episodes. Like, all of a sudden, you're born to do this. Like, I don't know about that one either. I'll be real with you. But it was a badass scene. She eventually goes out there. She starts shooting the butterflies like if she was Agent 007 or somebody, so, or 007 or Hitman or somebody, So there was that. But she has a. It was a bad. It was a cool ass scene. I really liked that scene as well. So there was that. Um, and then it leads into her or Peacemaker. He gets trapped into the rubble, so he's down there. And then she goes. She eventually she kills out the butterflies, and then she tries to go save Peacemaker as well. So Peacemaker's trapped in this rubble because the rubble, after they activated the sonic boom and I mean, really did damage to the butterflies as well. But everything's coming down or whatever. And then she tries to go downstairs and saves him because he's trapped under the rubble. At least I thought it was her. And then he gets pulled out by Golf as well. So she finds one of her helmets that has the one of the helmets had torpedo. It's basically a human torpedo. It's basically a prototype, and it makes your whole body. You're basically a human juggernaut. You go flying and boom, you can really break some bones. But apparently, you could break your own bones doing it as well. So there was that, and apparently Peacemaker never used it before, so there's that as well. But it then leads into Golf and Chris. The Golf saves him for some reason, and then fights him. So she saves him and then fights him. But she gets the better of him. She picks him up. She puts him up against the rocks, and then she squeezes him, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna. But she tells her, she's like, yeah, I want you to join me. She puts him back down. She starts explaining to him about like the reason why they're doing this, trying to explain to them why they're good and why it would benefit everyone for being butterflies as well. And he was kind of thinking about it. I'm gonna be real with you, until he didn't, and then I kind of figured he was just gonna turn on her. He pulls out the gun, shoots her, kills her, and then he activate. But before he does that, he activates human torpedo because Leota, who was hurt, was like after using the human torpedo, she messes up, and she hits her head on the wall when they were doing the golf fight. So he sees her, she activates human torpedo, goes, and the human torpedo goes straight through the cow and kills the cow, basically. So there was that. And then that's when he kills Golf as well. So there was that. Well, he kills Detective Song. Golf. And I should also mention earlier, I don't know why I did it, even I had it in the notes. Vigilante kills Fitzgibbon. So all the police officers are dead. Even Captain Locke, like he kills Peacemaker kills Captain Locke. He kills Golf. Or he killed Detective Song. He didn't kill Golf. And then Fitzgibbon and there's another officer, I forget who it is, but they all dead. They're all gone. And I was like, damn, that sucks. I liked it. I kind of liked it, their characters as well. And I wasn't expecting, because that one episode I was like, man, maybe they could find a way to take the butterflies out of them, but apparently not. You just gotta blow their heads off, which is crazy. So I don't think there's a way of like opening up their head and taking the butterflies out of their head. I don't know. So there's that as well. But he basically kills her. Then while they're all leaving, they see Harcourt's lifeless body laying there, and I was like, oh yeah, she's dead. I was like, she got shot in her neck by the butterflies. She was taken out, and I was like, oh yeah, she's dead 100%. So he picks her up. They're having a crying moment with her as well. When they're walking off, the unbelievable happens. And it was the most shocking point of the whole thing. Now, I see people crapping on this online, and I am going to address it. But then the Justice League shows up. My boys. First off, they show Wonder Woman, but it was a silhouette of her. They showed the Flash, which was Ezra Miller's Flash. They showed Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and then the only Superman. Now, of course, the noticeable guys that wasn't there was obviously Cyborg and obviously Batman. Batman, like they didn't show up, but the obvious ones was Aquaman and the Flash. They showed up as well. And then, so about the whole silhouette of Superman, they didn't show. They teased it that it looked like Henry Cavill Superman, because it had his features and everything, right? As you guys could probably see on the picture, it's definitely Cavill, right? But they didn't show him. Now people are obviously upset about that, right? But the thing I'm noticing, I mean, the thing I'm saying is, okay, like that's obviously something huge, and if they, first of all, WB or yeah, WBDC whatever, hasn't even announced of him coming back as Superman. They haven't announced him being in any project. They haven't announced him being in any movie. I tell you this, they're not gonna show him being on a Peacemaker TV show. I'm gonna be real with you. That's not happening. That's not how they're gonna bring him back. They're gonna do something huge, and it's not gonna be on a Peacemaker TV show. I tell you guys that. So there is that. Instantly, like I don't know why people were just expecting to see him. Another thing, there's the cyborg issue, right? Cyborg, it's a huge one. I feel like they could have got, I always forget his name, but Fisher, Ray Fisher. They could have got him to come back. Like I could definitely understand that, but there was no need. The whole point. First of all, some people gotta understand this show's about Peacemaker. This show's not about the Justice League. And I feel like if people are gonna have that argument, they probably should never put that in the show. But eventually they show up late, but like I said, man, I still think it was a badass moment seeing Ezra and Momoa's character showing up, and of course, the best part was when Vigilante tells him something about effing fish. Like it was so funny. He's like, "Why do people always say that?" I loved it. I loved that cameo, man. I know people are crapping on it. I loved it, man. I don't take it doesn't take a lot to please me as a fan, but I absolutely loved it. So there was that as well. Then so they're walking off, and then Peacemaker basically tells them like, "Yeah, you guys are late. We done everything. Like, why are you guys here?" I kind of like that moment too because it was like, yeah, as I was saying in one episode before, like, where is the other superheroes at? Like, this is huge level threat to the whole world, and nobody's there. Nobody's gonna show up. So I love the Justice League showing up because this is something they would absolutely show up to. So that was pretty cool as well. But it was kind of showing up. It was pretty dark, obviously, because they're trying to hide Wonder Woman as much. Obviously, they weren't gonna get Gal Gadot to show up for that, and then obviously they weren't gonna show Henry Cavill Soups. But I love that moment. I'm gonna be real with you. So there's that. People might hate on that. Oh well, so be it. So there's that. But anyways, it leads into Chris and Leota dropping their beef as well. They have a little moment as well. Um, Chris calls her his second BFF, ahead of Vigilante, which was actually a funny moment as well. So there's that. Then it leads into Leota basically speaking out on Task Force X and snitching on her own mother, which is crazy as well. So I wonder what's gonna happen with that. Amanda Waller is not the type of person you mess around with, and that's gonna be crazy. Now I was expecting, police to knock down her door as well, but let's see what happens with that because she outed out Amanda Waller, so there's that. And I'm pretty sure Amanda Waller doesn't care about nobody, not even her own kid. So I got a feeling she might be a huge baddie in part two. So anyways, so there was that. Leads into another scene with Judo Master, who doesn't even show up for the final fight. Leads, and Judo Master sees all the butterflies there. He starts crying as well, seeing all of them dead. Basically, somehow, some way, Hardcore lived. Hardcore's there. She's on the road to recovery as well. And then the show basically ends with Chris feeding golf for some weird reason. I was like, what the hell? So there's that. I thought he would for sure kill her, basically. But he killed the body she was in, but didn't kill her. So it didn't really make any goddamn sense. But I don't think she would survive without her food source, which is crazy. So there was that. But he feeds her the last drop of goop that he had, basically. Then it leads into him basically seeing his father. He's sitting on his porch. Eagerly goes and brings him a dead possum. He sees his father. Then they had basically a happy ending. So that was basically that. That episode in particular, man, was really really good. The Justice League cameo, the whole fight scenes was absolutely amazing. My overall thoughts on the whole series is I think this show was absolutely amazing. I loved it. The acting was top tier, basically. Everyone killed it, man. I loved everyone's on-screen relationship that they had. There were so many I could think of, especially like Peacemaker, Vigilante. Even though Peacemaker treats him like garbage, their on-screen dynamic together when they're both, are laughing and joking with each other, absolutely the best as well. Peacemaker and Leota's on-screen dynamic was absolutely great as well. He has some moments with hardcore economos, like Mern as well. Like everyone had, their moments with each other. Absolutely amazing. The writing in this show was absolutely amazing. It could get stale at times and too much over the top when it comes down to the jokes. But overall, it was not enough for me to dip any points on the show. Absolutely amazing. Love that. The fight scenes, not as much as you would think, but there was still, and when they did had them, absolutely amazing as well. So there was that. The plot was absolutely great as well. Just overall, just done, man. Super happy. And then to land that final episode and to land the ending was absolutely great. I don't know if I liked it, the whole happy ending, basically. That's basically what it was, with most of the crew living. I thought Hardcore would get killed off for sure. But I'm fine with it at the end of the day. It's not really something I would, talk crap about. But yeah, that's basically it with Peacemaker season one. Now let's talk about season two. That is definitely got confirmed, and it's obviously HBO has a hit on their catalog now. So there's that. What could be better in season two from season one? Basically the villains. I would love to see them face up against some stronger threats. I like the butterflies. They were a dominant threat, but it's butterflies. I mean, come on. So I like to see them, and then the White Dragon as well. White Dragon was pretty cool. He was kind of underwhelming, his kind of finish as well. So there was that. But I like to see a better finish from them as well. I like to see them finish off that whole story with the Suicide Squad movie. Him and the whole blood sport thing. I know that there's that issue. I want to see them continue that as well. So there's that. Don't make all the characters dense and quirky. I want some of them to now that they have field experience and with them working together. Maybe they don't have to be so dense all the time as well. Yeah, and don't try to look for that pop all the time. There's that like I said, that scene with Economos, with him talking about his beard. You just gotta, I mean, you're gonna have that pop, have it at the right moment. Don't just pick any moment and then try to have that pop. But yeah, that's basically it, man. Just the villains, man. I mean, I would like to see them going up against a huger, stronger threat, man. But overall, like I said, absolutely love this episode, man. It was so freaking good. Love the season as well. Pretty sad though. Pretty sad it's all coming to an end. But hey, here we go, and it just go moving forward. And there's so many comic book superhero stuff that's coming out. There's that Doctor Strange. I would love to talk about. Actually, I could talk about it now since I'm not really gonna do a video about it. Finally getting the X-Men in there. X-Men is my type of thing. I love the X-Men as well. Even though I'm not I'm be rich. I'm not the hugest Marvel guy. I don't really know too much about Marvel. But seeing the X-Men in there as well is just absolutely amazing. Um, and then there's the other ones. There's the DC movies, TV shows. There's the other. There's the Moon Knight. There's just so much is coming out this year, man, and we're here to talk about each and every one. So if you like this type of video, please consider liking, subscribing. Helps the channel out tremendously. Keeps me motivated, keep doing videos just like this one. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys have a wonderful, amazing day, and see you guys